Welcome to the TK Show with the Athletic Bay Area's Editor-in-Chief, Tim Kawakami.
Everybody, Tim Kawakami here from Kawakami Studios again. We are pleased to have a great guest this time. And stuff's happening. Stuff always seems to happen now with this team. Very happy to introduce my guest, A's manager Bob Melvin. Bob, you make another trade today or so? Maybe three more relievers? Don't you need some relieving help now?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, we've been pretty active. So, last night, another move to bolster our bullpen, and you try to play the strengths that you have, and certainly that's the case with us right now.
Yeah, you acquire Fernando Rodney. Now you've got three back-end guys already, Familia, Trevino, Treinen, other guys who can pitch late in the game. Where do you see Rodney fitting in right now?
We'll have a discussion when we get to the ballpark today with the guys. It's a deep bullpen, and guys are going to be pitching in roles that they're probably not used to. So the trick for us is getting everybody to buy in and understanding they might have to swallow a little pride and pitch accordingly to help the team win. And I think with the personnel we have, the guys that we have, they'll be okay with that.
What do you say that you pick up Sean Kelly before that, obviously Familia before that? When Forrest or Billy tells you, okay, I got you another arm, what are you saying to them? Oh, great, get me more, or what's the interchange there?
Well, they keep me informed, and after the last one, you figure we're probably done as far as the bullpen goes. But when guys are out there on trade waivers, and our guys are really savvy about being able to pick up and upgrade the team, sometimes only incrementally, sometimes more than that. So. They're always scouring and trying to make the team a little bit better. And when they talked about Rodney, it actually came up yesterday, and it happened pretty quickly. So, you understand that they know what they're doing in their jobs, and you give them your opinions on it, and then you move forward. This guy should be a good acquisition for us.
I don't know if you've ever been a bullpenning guy like we saw from maybe the Dodgers last season, or we see some other teams. But, can you get into this? Obviously you want your starters to go as deep and as well as they can. But, could you be a guy like, hey, maybe 2 trips through the lineup, then we start going to the bullpen? You've got the arms to do it.
Well, you look where the game's gone, and that's, the teams that are having a lot of success are built that way. So, I've always been a proponent of you play the cards that you're dealt and the strengths that you have. And, the bullpen is our strength right now. So, if you're a team that can't hit home runs, you don't sit around and wait for the 3-run homer. If you're a team that doesn't steal bases, you don't try to steal a lot of bases. And, the personnel we have would suggest that the bullpen will be our strength. So we're able to shorten some games. We've already been able to do that, maybe even more so now.
How much of adding, say, even Rodney and Kelly is you got some guys who pitched a lot of innings in that bullpen. Trevino, in early in his career is putting on a lot of innings. How much is maybe back off some of those guys just a little bit?
Right. Trevino's the one guy that's gone multiple innings for us several times, and it allows me to maybe back on his workload to maybe an inning. But we've also been pretty good about identifying when we think he's a little bit tired or not, giving him a couple days off, not pitching him 2 out of 3 once he pitches more than 1 inning. So he's a horse. He's a young kid. He's durable. He wants to pitch. But I think this allows us maybe to cut back on his 1 pluses and 2 inning outings. There
was a little while there. I saw you were going Trevino, maybe multiple innings, and sometimes you're going Treinen, not more than 3 outs. Are you a guy like, I'm going with the horse? We got important games here. These are the guys I'm going with.
Well, yeah, we've settled into Trevino in the 7th and Familia in the 8th and Treinen in the 9th. And, Familia's even pitched 2 innings for us a couple of times, and I don't know that he's done that this year. Mm-hmm. And he's done it economically, too, where he's had low pitch counts in the 1st inning, gone out there in the 2nd inning, and he just wants to contribute. So, and Blake Treinen's been a starter before. Mm. This is a guy that really probably has as rubber arm as we have in our bullpen, even though he's in the closer's role. So I'm not hesitant to use him for more than 3 outs either.
What's this been like? I was talking to Billy in a little 2012 feel to this, the kind of the rise out of nowhere. Have you felt some of that, or is it a little different even?
Well, there's some similarities based on where we started the season and, where we are right now, and probably not, as far as at least outside world expectations of the group. And now all of a sudden they're much higher expectations. But I think the guys that we've had expected us to have a good year. We had the Chapmans and the Olsons last year toward the end of the season, and I think it was a great experience for them. Not only did they play, at the big leagues for an extended period of time, but they also had success.
Yep. And
building around a group of young core guys that came up in our system. There's a lot of value in that. These guys really want to be Oakland A's and take pride in being an Oakland A. So a little different as far as that goes. It's more kind of on the position player end as far as the young pitchers we had in 2012. But yeah, you can't say that there aren't some similarities.
Well, you've been asked this, I'm sure, before. June 15, you lose. You're 34-36. Not bad. Young team. Certainly weren't expected to run away with anything. What was your thinking then? And could you at all foresee what I don't know what you're like 100 and none since then, whatever you are. Could you foresee something like this happening?
You know what? We didn't really look that far out. We're really good about trying to win today's game. And the one thing I really did think, and I thought at the beginning of the season, and I continue to think this way, is we have a chance to get better as we go along, and that's been the case. So, there's a lot of confidence in our guys. They don't get down if we have a tough game or a demoralizing loss. They're really good about putting it in the rearview mirror and coming out and giving everything we have to today's game. Now, having said that, you can't, where we are right now, there's a lot at stake, and we know going forward, there's definitely a finish line, but still the strength remains staying focused on today's game.
How much, I mentioned it, other people have mentioned it, that before the trade deadline, we'll see what A's ownership does. If they're willing to bump up that payroll, no one's expecting, a $20 million bump or a $40 million bump, but certainly there's been incremental bumps here. Has this been a sign to you that John Fisher and the ownership group is on board with what's happening?
Without a doubt. And it also shows you that, the front office and ownership are also trying to keep the vibe amongst the players and show them that they have faith in where we are. It happened pretty quickly, like you said, as far as the 30 whatever and 10. And so these things come up on you in a hurry, and you have to kind of change gears and understand where you're at. And they have definitely done that. So, it's a product of Billy and David being good in their jobs and ownership and John and those guys supporting them.
I know you must feel this. I've heard this. Like, hey, you can't say, hey, we're going to be better next year, so let's kind of be careful and not do anything. And, down the road is what we're building for. You capitalize on what you got, and you've got a shot at the playoffs. Obviously, you're in the wild card right now. Is that something you're expressing, or something you just think to yourself? Like, we're not thinking down the road. You have to take advantage of what you have.
Well, without a doubt, and I think ownership in the front office is showing us that. So that creates a vibe in our clubhouse too. That we thought with the Familia deal that was terrific, and if that's all we did, we'd have been happy with that. But for them, to continue to, bring players in and now veteran players that can help us for what was originally mostly a younger team, that shows the players a lot.
We're going to take a quick break to talk about our friends over at Simple Contacts. I have to tell you guys about my newest time-saving trick. I got my contact lens prescription renewed while sitting on my couch yesterday in under 5 minutes, using an awesome new app called Simple Contacts. Anyone who wears contact lenses needs to know about it. Simple Contacts lets you renew your prescription and reorder your brand of lenses from anywhere in minutes through an online vision test. It's designed by doctors, and every test is reviewed by a doctor, so they're literally bringing the doctor's office to your home. I've been using Simple Contacts for a few months now, and it's made getting my contacts insanely easy. Not to mention, I can finally wear those sunglasses that I told my wife I would wear all the time that I haven't worn once because of my regular glasses. The contact lens prices are unbeatable. The vision test is only $20 and shipping is free. Best of all, TK's listeners get $20 off their first Simple Contacts order with promo code TKShow20. Try it for yourself and save $20 off your lenses by going to simplecontacts.com/TKShow20 or entering the code TKShow20 at checkout. I need to mention that this is not a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam, so you still need to do those occasionally. But this is the most convenient way to renew a prescription and reorder your contacts if your vision hasn't changed. Again, get $20 off at simplecontacts.com/TKShow20 or enter code TKShow20 at checkout. Save time, save money, and save yourself a headache with Simple Contacts. And now, back to the TK Show.
Do you see your rotation coming into some sort of form here? You add Fires, somebody we didn't even bring up, but had a nice game the other day. Do you feel like there's some structure there, and maybe where it hadn't been due to obviously all the injuries you've suffered?
Well, one, they're definitely pitching as well as they have all year. Certainly we've had a lot of injuries that have, taken place that have put us in the position that we're in, but the last time around, the last turn around the rotation was the best we've had all year. Now, granted, guys aren't going 7 innings, but we have the bullpen to be able to combat that. So if they can go out there and give us 5 or 6 innings, and we only have to cover 3 or maybe 4 innings over the course of a game, we have a good chance to win. And, I think teams also feel that, similar to Kansas City a couple years ago, if you don't have a lead against us in the 6th inning, you might have a tough time scoring some runs. Yep. So it also puts a little pressure on the other team with the structure of our bullpen.
And your team scores some runs in the late innings, is my understanding. I think I've seen that happen a few times.
You have, and that's why Lou Trevino's 8-1. I mean, if you look at his numbers, right away, and you look at his win-loss record, you think he's a starter. Mm-hmm. But it means that we score runs late in games. The 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, our guys have really put up their best at bats, and that can be a very contagious thing where, even if you get down early in the game, you feel like you have a chance to come back and win. And then when you have the bullpen on top of that, the latter part of the game certainly has been our strength.
How fun is this for you, Bob? Obviously had some real good years there, 2012, 2013, 2014, and some tougher years. To see this coming, you saw the young players coming, you mentioned at the end of last season, but then to have it develop like this, wherever this season ends, this must be pretty fun for you.
Oh, it's been as fun as any time I've been here. We had 3 really good years, and then the last 3 years were really hard. We felt like we knew this group was coming in our system, but they weren't quite ready yet. And, that we had to use some placeholders and some 1-year guys where it's really tough to get that, team feeling. 'Cause, in Oakland, a lot of times we don't keep guys and they're here for a year and they're looking for their next contract. So it's tough to create that team unity. And it's anything but right now. It's all about the team unity right now, which is, like I said, a very powerful feeling. We're using everybody on our roster, guys like Nick Martini and Ramon Laureano coming up and being nice pieces for us too. It's pretty rewarding to see the group come to the ballpark every day and play for each other. They're playing for the guy next to them. They're pulling for each other. If we pinch hit for somebody, the guy that I'm pinch hitting for is rooting for the guy that's pinch hitting for him. It's pretty cool.
How much do you think back on 2014? Obviously, the last playoff trip. Incredibly talented team. Had the best record in baseball for a lot of that season. Then something didn't go right, and you lose in the wildcard game. And do you flash back on that at all? When you have a good team now, do you all feel some similarity to that?
I try not to look back at the tougher times. I mean, it was a good team, and we were beat up a little bit down the stretch, and certainly in that wild card game, we were going to lose. If we had won that game, we were going to lose 3 players going into the next round. But it was a great baseball game. It was a demoralizing game for us, and kind of put us on the course, where we had to go with trading players and so forth, and putting ourselves in the position where we are right now. So I try not to look back, no.
Okay. Let's look ahead a little bit. I don't know if you want to talk about this a ton, but, your contractual situation, Billy's Force has been brought up. I think you're all signed through next season, and the team has usually given extensions earlier than this. Is it at all concerned to you at all? Have you had discussions about an extension at all recently?
No, I haven't. But you know what? I'm signed through next year, so I don't expect anything. And it's whenever it comes up, it'll come up. I'm lucky to be here as long as I've been here. I obviously enjoy being here and want to be here longer, but my contract's not up, and it's if it'd be one thing if it was at the end of this year, but it's not. It's the end of next year, and whenever they're comfortable talking about it, I'm fine with it.
Have you had any general conversations, or just playing it out right now?
No, I'm focused on what we're doing right now. And again, I'll be here next year. We start out in Japan next year, which will be cool too. And like I said, this is a part of the process that I don't control. So I try to stay in my lane.
Obviously, yeah. As well as you guys are playing and you're looking at the playoffs, as the A's always have some future conversation, you've got some real talent still in the system. You haven't brought up all your talent. You got Luzardo, you've got Sean Murphy. Obviously, you've got some guys, some other guys that are very, very highly regarded. Can you foresee seeing some of Luzardo getting a look in September, maybe to be that like David Price pop up, and be a dynamic arm, maybe in September, maybe even in October? Can you see something like that happening?
You know what? He's a year off of Tommy John, and they're really kind of monitoring the innings. He is a talented guy. I mean, it's tough not to kind of think about what could possibly be. But the trick about where we are right now and where we're potentially going in the future is trying to hold your best prospects too. And I think our front office has done a great job of making the moves that we have, yet still keeping our guys going forward. So. I have a tough time thinking that he would be here this year. I'm not expecting it. So I think he's more of a next year piece, and he's going to be really, really good. And I don't think, potentially you put him in a bullpen and have him do something he hasn't done before, especially this late in the season. So my guess is no, as far as seeing him with us this year.
Oh, well, bullpen, you just need more arms there. We're just trying to get you more arms there, Bob. More options.
No question. I understand where you're going with that.
Hey, but I see you more than I see anybody at other games. I see you at Warriors games. I see you at the John Gruden press conference. Obviously, you're a Cal stalwart at the basketball games, and I imagine you're at some of the football games. Just what are you just like getting out? Do you like what does that for you? Why do you get out to so many events like that?
I'm just a Bay Area sports fan, and I grew up being a Bay Area sports fan, and we're about as lucky as you could possibly be being where we are and having as many teams to follow and watch. So I'm just taking advantage of that. I mean, I grew up like I said, as a kid going to all those games. My godfather was the trainer for the Golden State Warriors. I used to go to practices and so forth. So I'm just doing what I've done my whole life, basically, and lucky to do it. So whenever I can get out to support one of our teams, I do it. And on top of that, it's really entertaining. We have great teams here.
Do you have a relationship with any other coaches or front office people or even a player, on another team that you kind of treasure?
Yeah, I have some familiarity basically with all of them, and kind of, getting a little bit of a relationship with John Gruden here recently. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh is a good friend of mine. Was easy to support them. Steve Kerr, at least till recently here, lived up the street from me. I actually knew him in the Arizona days too. When he was the GM there, I was the manager for the Diamondbacks. So I knew Jack Del Rio a little bit. So I try to familiarize myself with everybody and support them. And I think it's probably universal the way everybody handles that here in the Bay Area.
Did you see that photo that the A's account tweeted out of me talking to you at the Gruden press conference? And they said, Bob Melvin with a fan talking. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it's pretty funny.
Was that a Twitter thing?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm not a Twitter
guy. Come on, Bob.
I try to stay away from social media as much as I can. It's, guys like me are usually at the top of the topics, and it's not something that I need to concern myself with.
It's a gentle and peaceful world in social media.
Right, there can be some negativity out there, and I don't really want to embrace myself in that.
Let's not get the Bob Melvin burner account start ripping people. Maybe you're probably wise on that one. You're probably wise on that one. Your guy Harbaugh. I know you're very friendly. You grew up in the same area with him. Any contact with him recently? briefly, any thoughts on what Harbaugh's up to in Michigan?
Yeah, I'm always, I at least a few times a year we contact each other, and he tries to come out to some of our games. This is the first time when we were playing in Detroit that he didn't come out. He was on vacation in San Diego at the time. He's a pretty busy guy and a pretty active guy, so we try to connect when we can, but we always kind of send each other a text or a phone call from time to time and support each other. If he gets himself a quarterback over there, man, there's no telling what they can do. So
absolutely,
he does a nice job with every team he has.
You get any more foul balls? I know that's the count he's got. He's just going to baseball games and getting foul balls. That's what Harbaugh's life is.
He's always had his glove, and I actually a couple Christmases ago had one made up for him in the Michigan colors when he first got the job. So I'm not sure if he's using that one or his trusty old one that he's gotten all these foul balls with, but that is something he is looking to do.
Don't get between Jim Harbaugh and a live foul ball. That's my advice to the world, because he's going after it. He's going after it. All right, Bob, I'm going to close this with what I ask all my guests. I cannot wait for this answer, knowing you and your ability to take a look at the entire Bay Area. Bob Melvin, what's your favorite restaurant?
Well, this one's actually an easy one for me. The Wolf one right now.
Yep.
It used to be Baywolf, Michael White's Baywolf that has been taken over by Rich and Rebecca Wood. It's on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland. I have quite a few. Are you just nailing me down to one?
No. We want to hear about as many good restaurants as you can name, please.
Well, Comey right next door, James Seaboat's Comey's got 2 Michelin stars, so Piedmont Avenue right now is pretty hot. But the Wolf, I'm a little bit involved with, so I'm probably a little biased as far as that goes.
That's fair.
The East Bay has so many good restaurants now, and you really don't even need to go over the bridge, if you're an East Bay guy. So I think Piedmont Avenue is a hot place to be right now, and certainly Rockridge, all the restaurants.
All right, Bob. That's
Wood Tavern and so forth.
Wood Tavern. I was just there.
Yep.
I was just there.
Yep.
Great recommendations. I knew you'd have them. Bob, I appreciate you got a game tonight. Again, you guys win many games, and you're fascinating to watch. So I really appreciate you talking to me. And next time you add a reliever, maybe tomorrow, we'll get you back on and we'll talk about that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, Bob. Thanks. That's the show, everybody. Thank you.